Hey, good morning, sixth graders. In this video today, we're going to talk about what we're doing in class since I'm not there today and also do a little bit of notes for you. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. The first thing we're going to do today is I'm going to go through two different slides, maybe three, because I think one's kind of short, uh, with some notes on sedimentary rocks, going through these three subgroups that you see here that we wrote down at the end of class yesterday: clastic, organic, and chemical sedimentary rocks. Um, After that, there is a igneous rock worksheet. It's actually like a hard cover or regular piece of paper. It's not digital. Worksheet for you to work on that had with the red textbooks. And if you get all that done, there is an ed puzzle for you to finish. So let me jump in with the notes, and then I'll explain the directions for the worksheet and due dates and all that good stuff. All right. So if you need to pause the video to open up your notes doc, and then come back and be ready to type and to listen. Okay. As you can see, my computer's being really funny this morning, so the sound is fine, but like my video here is totally like glitchy. So sorry, try not to get too distracted by that. But go ahead and in your notes here, add a new subheading: clastic sedimentary rocks. New subheading all the way to the left, no bullet. And if you remember what we talked about yesterday at the end of class, unlike igneous rocks, whose their subgroups are based off of where they form, um, classic sedimentary rocks are based off of what type of sediment makes up that sedimentary rock. All sedimentary rocks are formed with sediments, but there's different types of sediments out there. And so the type of sediment that makes up the rock is what classifies sedimentary rocks into three subgroups. And the first one here is clastic. And it's kind of funny that it's called clastic because when I think about sedimentary rocks, it's kind of like what I would envision a sedimentary rock would be. It's almost like it's the classic version of a sedimentary rock, yet they call it clastic. But a clastic rock is just made of other pieces of rocks or minerals. Clastic rocks are made of sediments of rock fragments. Now, those rock fragments, those sediments are classified by grain sizes. Okay, now this chart is not to scale because it would have been too hard to actually put to scale. So let me see if I can move myself here. It's not going to let me move myself. Usually lets me move myself. It's not letting me move myself. I'm sorry. All right. Well, down here at the very bottom, you see some of the smaller grain sizes. There we go. That's weird. Okay. Clay being the smallest, then silt, then sand. So if a sedimentary rock is made out of sediments that are the grain sizes are like that of clay, it's going to have a really smooth texture because the grain size is so small that it's going to be smooth. And so there are some sedimentary rocks like shale, usually the ones that are found near like rivers and streams and stuff. We find a lot of shale. And it makes sense that the grain size is really small, right? Because it's been eroded a bunch, right? With all the water from the river or the stream. Next up is silt and then sand, and you keep moving all the way up. And you're going to have actually some rocks that have some pretty big sediments in it. Okay, now I'll show you guys a rock on Tuesday when we're back called conglomerate that literally has almost like pebble-sized rocks as the sediments. So it's almost like, wait, is that a rock or is that just a bunch of rocks that are glued together? And technically, it's a rock with really large sediments in it, and that's called a conglomerate. And we'll take a look at that. You guys might have learned that word in social studies. I'll have to ask Mr. Smith. All right, so let me move this again in case you didn't copy it down. That's the clastic. It's just a sedimentary rock, and its sediments come from broken down pieces of other rock. Okay, so rocks that were already in existence and get weathered and eroded and broken down. Make a new subheading: organic sedimentary rocks. Going with your prior knowledge of what we learned in the mineral unit, hopefully you were able to predict or infer what an organic sedimentary rock is made out of. Organic sedimentary rocks are made out of sediments or fragments of things that were once living. I think we touched on this a little bit yesterday, but we're talking about ancient remains, like pre-human, okay? Long, millions upon millions of years ago. So pretty common organic matter would be shells, ancient plants. Those are usually the two common ones that we see. All right, just to be clear, organic, meaning that it's made out of things that were once living. The rock itself was not a living thing. It never was. It never will be. Rocks are not living things. But what makes it an organic sedimentary rock is that the sediments that makes up this sedimentary rock, those sediments were once living, right? They were parts of something that was once living. Okay, let me move mine up here. Man, my computer is so laggy, guys. I don't know what is going on. I guess it's not waking up here. Okay. All right, remember, minerals cannot be organic. So here's a huge distinction between rocks and minerals. Right? Minerals have to be inorganic. It's one of the 5 characteristics of all minerals. Not true for rock. Rocks can be organic. I think we might have even touched on this and talked about that a little bit in our mineral unit. Okay. I think we'll stop there and we'll finish the third subgroup, chemical sedimentary rocks, for next week. So if you need to pause the video to finish typing in the notes, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I'm going to go through and explain the other 2 activities here today. Okay. Now that you're done with the notes, you're going to go through and now you're going to work on a worksheet. The worksheet is located up on my podium. So like where my overhead is, there is a worksheet that's called Igneous Rocks. Okay, so once you're done with the notes, you can go up and grab that and then go to the back of the room and you'll need to grab a book. It tells you the pages at the top. Okay, this is a worksheet created from the book. So it's a little bit different than a reading guide for me. It's probably a little bit harder than a reading guide. There are some written response questions on there. So please make sure that you are reading all of the directions. It tells you for the written response questions to write them on the back. Okay, so you don't need to write them on a separate sheet of paper, and there is not enough room for you to squeeze them in where they ask the question. You need a little bit more room to write, so please turn it over and write on the back. Okay? I'm hoping that you get this worksheet done before class ends. So if you get it done, please turn it in. If you don't get it done, it's eventually going to be homework next week to get it done. This is the only class time I'm giving you. It's up to you if you want to take it home and get it done over the long weekend so it's out of your way. If not, it'll probably be homework either Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Okay, so that's up to you. It's going to be up to the substitute teacher if you guys are going to work in groups or not. On my lesson plan for the sub, I wrote in there that it was up to them if they wanted to let you pick a partner to work with or not. So kind of up to them. All right. If you get all of that done and there's still some time, there is an Ed puzzle posted on Igneous Rocks. Okay. It is not homework over the weekend. If you don't get to it, that's okay. I just wanted to have something else there in case there was still some extra time so that there was stuff for you guys to do. Okay. We'll get to it next week if we don't get to it today. All right. Lastly, rewrites. Test rewrites are due by the end of the day today for your mineral test. If you have your test rewrites, okay, please do not give them to the sub. Okay, do not give them to the sub. hold on to them in your science binder so that they're here in the classroom and you don't forget them. And you can just turn them into me on Monday. It'll be totally fine. Okay. I'm sorry, Tuesday. We're not there on Monday. Okay. I don't want you to give them to the sub. Okay. I think that's it. All right. Make sure you are getting your work done. My expectation is the work gets done. Okay. This is not you guys just sitting around pretending like you're working and things like that. Get your work done. Get your notes. Get that worksheet done. Okay. And then I will see you in the afternoon. I'll be back here in the afternoon because I want to make sure that I can come and play that volleyball game against the seventh graders. So I will see you guys later. Have a good class.